I'm really curious what you have to say about this new rise of internet influencers that are saying things like make six figures in 30 days and work just 2 hours a week. We've all seen the ads on YouTube. Programs like that are unfortunately bringing people into debt. What do you have to say about that? Hey, friends, welcome to the Jolie Harris Show. Let's dive into today's episode. I'm so excited to introduce George Kamel. He's a Ramsey personality and a personal finance expert, and he's followed the Ramsey proven money plan to go from a negative net worth to a millionaire in under 10 years using biblical principles. So I am so excited to have him on the show here today. He's going to drop some gems from his, personal story from his new book, and so we have a lot to dig into today.
It's so good to be here. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, I personally binge watch your YouTube channel. I'm going to publicly admit that.
Thank you. That means the world.
I mean, it's just so good. And I've seen the way that you effortlessly debunk so many toxic money myths, or as Dave Ramsey would say, the TikTok mythology out there on the internet streets. It's super fun to watch. But you do it with facts. And that's what really stands out to me, right? Super tactical. It's research based, not based on emotions, not based on opinion. So I'm excited for you to share some of the money traps that you see entrepreneurs fall into, because I know that like personal finance, entrepreneurship, there's intersection there. One is impacting the other for sure.
Mm. Yeah, with entrepreneurs, especially early on, there's a myth out there that debt is the path to building wealth as an entrepreneur, to scaling your business. And Dave Ramsey has proven that wrong over 30 years of,
Yeah.
he went bankrupt, he did it with debt and then learned the hard way. And he built Ramsey from a card table in his living room with straight cash. And it's been amazing to see. And people don't believe him when he's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
place is, we don't have a mortgage. We don't have credit cards in this building. We use company issued debit cards and
Yeah.
we move at the speed of cash. And now with Entree Leadership, Dave's business brand, it's been so cool to see business owners out there grow and scale their businesses and grow their teams at the speed of cash without the stress and risk of debt. And that to me is the most inspiring business story. Anyone can go out there and get
Yeah.
$100,000 in a business loan, but we see the stories when people fail and the business fails and they still have this debt. It's like, you went to college and got a degree for $200,000, but you didn't graduate. And now you still have the
Hmm.
$200,000 in debt to pay without the degree to show for it. That's the best analogy I can make to the stress and problems I'm seeing out there with entrepreneurs. So that's the big one. And the other one is just all of the weird tax write-offs. Like, well, I'm going to buy a $78,000 car so I can
Hmm.
write it off on my taxes because
Hmm.
this is what smart entrepreneurs do. And
Hmm.
again, there's so much mythology out there with how much I'm going to spend versus what I'm going to actually save in taxes. And it's too much brain calories burned when you really should just be focusing on how do I serve the customer well.
Absolutely. And you once hosted the Entree Leadership podcast, so I'm sure you heard like so many stories coming in, and even on the Ramsey show as well. And then on top of that, watching Dave build this amazing business that's serving so many people and doing it debt free. So for those out there who can't conceptualize this, right? Maybe they're really struggling financially, they're seeing this business as their way to freedom, but they don't see how they're going to be able to build that business without resources. What are some practical things that they can do to actually get the business going, get income, but do it debt free, do it God's way?
Mm, that's a great question. Well, I think a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they're very passionate and they're very excited, but that can lead to shortcuts, and shortcuts don't lead anywhere worth going to. And what that looks like is we had a call on the Ramsey show this week, and a guy said, "Hey, I have this opportunity." That's usually a red flag right there that you're trying to justify a purchase you shouldn't make. When you're like, "I have this amazing opportunity to go $30,000 into debt." That's not an opportunity. Or I have
Mhm.
this amazing opportunity to borrow all this money from family that I told them I'd pay them back. These are going to add stress, risk, and relational damage later on down the road. So this guy wanted to spend $30,000 that he didn't have to buy a mini excavator that he could go then rent out and start an equipment rental business.
Mm.
And he was gonna try. He said he could make $350 per day renting this out. And I was like, okay, you're gonna need to lock in almost 90 days of rentals just to break even on this. And so we just told him start small. Go on Facebook Marketplace and buy a
Yeah.
used one that you can pay for with cash and rent that one out until you have enough money to buy the upgrade with cash. And that's the hardest part for entrepreneurs because they're so excited and they don't want to wait 6 months or a year or
Mhm.
3 years to save up the cash to get this thing off the ground. But every successful entrepreneur that I found, they are so scrappy and so resourceful and they figure it out. When they take that off the table, they find
Mhm.
another way. And those are the most inspiring stories, not the ones who went
Yeah.
into a whole bunch of debt and it somehow worked out. Those are the ones that get flashed on Instagram, but it's not real life.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think too, God gets more glory out of it, right? When we're kind of put in a position where there's no option, right? Debt is not on the table, the resources aren't there. It pushes your faith to believe God for what you believe He told you to do. If God told you to do it, He's going to provide, right?
Amen.
Hey, we're about to jump right back into this interview, but before we do, I want to tell you about a free 5-day devotional to help you stop feeling anxious about your finances. Head over to joliejharris.com/moneydevo. That's joliejharris.com/moneydevo, and I will leave that link in the description for you. All right, let's get back to the interview. I love what Dave said. Dave said, I heard him say, what is it? If we don't have the money for it, God said no, right?
Oh,
So
I love that.
that was a good one. That stuck with me. So whatever it is that God has put on your heart to do, He's going to give you the wisdom on how to do it in a way that glorifies Him, in a way that's not going to burden you and your family, because the Bible has a lot to say against debt, despite what our culture says, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's over 2,300 scriptures just about wealth and possessions and debt, and it's fascinating when you look into it. There's no verse that positively speaks about
Yeah,
debt in your life.
exactly.
I mean, we know Proverbs 22:7, the borrower
Mhm.
is slave to the lender. Romans 13:8, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing
Yep.
debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. That's the best Jesus juke right there. It's like, well, there is a type of good debt, Joe, the debt to love one another. It's like, oh, so I love the way that the Bible speaks about debt, that it's
Yeah.
a burden in your life that you
Yeah.
need to remove immediately.
Mhm.
And I think it holds us back, not just in business and in finances, but it holds you back in life. The emotional weight it has, the relational weight it has when family members have co-signed and you owe people money in your life, you're not going to sleep as well. And now we're getting more research on the scientific side of that. And the Bible just got there a few thousand years early.
Now you touch on a lot of stuff, a lot of junk too that's going on in our culture, that's going on the internet. And I love your approach to it. I'm really curious what you have to say about this new rise of internet influencers that are saying things like, make six figures in 30 days and work just 2 hours a week. We've all seen the ads on YouTube. I'm even watching your show. I get them all the time. And even programs like that are unfortunately bringing people into debt because they're feeding into that story, right? They see someone who somehow, maybe they invested $1 million in ads and they made another $1 million back and just broke even. And now they're trying to sell you on this idea and get you into debt by purchasing their program with money that you don't have. And it's bad. So what do you have to say about that? I'm sure that just makes your brain go bonkers.
Oh, yes. It's exhausting, and people send these videos to me all the time, either saying, "George, is this true?" or "You need to
Mhm.
react to this." And so I the DMs are full of those all day long, and I could devote my life to it, but life is too short to just react to videos that make me angry. That's not gonna
Yeah.
turn me into a good person. But yes, there's so many people out there who just wanna sell you an online course, and if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And if
Mhm.
it sounds like a shortcut, run the other way, because
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is hard work. If it's 2 hours a
Yep.
week and you
Yep.
can do this in a weekend, it's probably not a sustainable
Yeah.
solution.
Amen.
And so, people always wanna go, "Why work for the man working 9 to 5 when I can run my own business and have my own schedule?" I'm like, "Your schedule is gonna look like 7 to 7 for the first 5 years
Yeah.
you run this business." And so
Amen.
for young
Yeah.
people out there, they're trying to have time freedom, but what they don't understand is getting a business off the ground is way harder than any 9 to 5. And, a lot of people try it, and it's not for everyone. And so I wanna encourage people that I love entrepreneurship. I learned early on, I had the self-awareness to go, I should not be running my own business. I wanna be able to focus on what only I can do. And as a business owner, you're doing 19 jobs. And the chances are you'd hate 18 of those jobs and you got into it for that one job. But unfortunately, you have to sit in the Excel spreadsheet and do the bookkeeping and do the marketing and do the sales and post the tweet, even if that's not your strong suit. And so there is beauty in opting out and saying, listen, I love the entrepreneur life, but I'm going to go work for an entrepreneur or work for a business to focus on what I am great at. And maybe one day I'll get that thing off the ground that I really want to launch. It's okay to just say that out loud.
Yeah, right, and I know I've heard Dave say this that, sometimes the best part-time job that you might have is another side business, right? And there's nothing wrong with people out there who are listening and they don't see a way out. Maybe you don't just, you know, go and quit your job and run into it, but maybe you just do it on the side as you're learning from somebody else. There's nothing wrong with that either. Dave talks about
Yes.
that all the time in his book. Yeah.
And our friend Ken Coleman, a fellow Ramsey personality, as I
Yeah.
co-host the Ramsey show with him, we always get those calls and we love to take them because it's an exciting thing where they go, "Hey,
Mhm.
should I quit my full-time job and jump
Yeah.
into this thing over here?" And we're like, "Hey, we don't like the idea of a leap."
Right.
I like the idea of
Yeah.
just getting the boat close to the dock and you just step into it, and it's a very natural
I love that.
progression versus I'm gonna leap and hope for the best, and that's usually what people are doing when they go, "I'm gonna quit my full-time job making 50 and my side hustle made 1,000." And we're going, "Okay, well, pause. Let's see if
Right.
we can work an extra 20 hours on the side hustle a week to get that closer to at least half of your income. And that way, if I did this full time and I doubled my input, I'd have double the output. I would be able to replace my income and cover my expenses. And those are the situations where we go, green light, you are ready to do this. You're crushing it. Some people are making more in their side hustle than in their full time job. And those people were like, you're doing it, go
Mhm.
for it. And
Yeah.
so those are great situations. But for those that aren't there yet, it's okay and go slow and go at your own pace. There's life involved too here. You got families, you have kids, there's more responsibility as you get older and step into family life. That, when I was 22, I was doing all kinds of things. And now as a dad and a husband, it's just harder to do. And so it's okay to move at a slower pace to go at the speed of cash and avoid risk.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and the Bible talks about that too. There's a verse that talks about, the one who gathers money little by little, they're gonna make it grow, right? So
Proverbs
I
13:11. Wealth
yeah,
gained hastily will dwindle. Whoever gathers little by little will increase it. It's one of
yeah,
my favorite wealth building verses because it just reminds us to live like the tortoise instead of the hare, to be the
exactly.
crock pot in a world full of microwaves. And it's encouraging because it helps me to kind of turn the blinders on to all the flashy, trendy stuff like, well, crypto and NFTs. And dude, you got to get in this permanent life insurance thing because that's how wealthy people
Mhm,
do it. And I'm like,
mhm,
nope, I'm going to gather little by little. I'm going to put money away into that savings account, that retirement account year after year. And I will keep the wealth I've built instead of seeing it disappear because I gained it too quickly. And we see that with lottery winners all the time.
mhm. Yeah, that's so good, and I think too, people there there's something going on in people's minds when they keep hearing these stories, right, of like, "Oh, I did this thing online and it blew up and I made $1,000,000 and I left my job," and then they go and make a course about it, and I'm like, I feel so passionate now about exposing this because I think that, God can bless you for sure. He can give you an idea and make it successful. But like you said, the Bible shows us over and over that a lot of times God does things gradually. And so this get rich quick stuff, it's fantasy, right? What do you think that is what impact is that having on our culture and people's mindsets when they see these stories, right? They're not really showing the whole picture. They're just kind of giving you the highlight.
Yeah, I cover this in depth in the book in the investing traps chapter. And at the end of covering all of these investing traps and given my hot takes of why they're not the path, I really searched to the root of what is the root of all of this. And there was three things that I found. I called them the three stooges of wealth building, and it's fear, greed, and pride. At the end of the day, those are the three emotions underlying a lot of these traps and mistakes and emotions that we're feeling. And so fear, it's the FOMO. It's, oh my gosh, I need to get in this now. Or, hey, the economy's tanking, so I need to go do this real desperate move or go buy a bunch of gold.
Yeah.
And then pride is, hey, I know better than all these other people. I'm going to be the one to pick the single stock or to have that $3 million business by going into all this debt and making a really risky move. And then, of course, there's greed, which is I want more than what God is providing. I want to get rich so
Mm.
quickly
Mm.
that I can surpass all of my friends and have all of these
Yeah.
earthly possessions. And that's what, I see a lot of that in crypto. It's, hey, I don't want to invest in a 401k because that's going to take too long. So I want to choose the right coin that's going to do 10x in a year versus 10% over the next 30. And those are the three emotions I think we need to really grapple with if we're going to build wealth the right way. Because what it ends up, you said, what's the impact? Well, people go broke, people go bankrupt, people's
Yeah.
marriages are destroyed, families are broken, jobs are lost. And so all of those don't lead anywhere worth going. And those are the reasons I'm out on those.